My beloved soul, listen carefully because this is not a gentle beginning, this is a holy interruption, a moment where heaven leans close and says stop measuring time by your loneliness and stop interpreting silence as absence, because what you are calling delay is actually divine preparation, and what feels like nothing happening is the loudest movement you cannot yet hear, for God says your soulmate is not wandering, not distracted, not unsure, they are being prepared quietly in places you cannot access yet, shaped in stillness, refined in private battles, healed in ways that match the depth of your prayers, and if this truth unsettles you it is because your spirit already knows it is real, because you have felt the urge to rush, to force, to question, to almost settle, and this word arrives now to pull you back from a decision that would have cost you peace. My beloved soul, do not mistake urgency for alignment, because when God prepares something eternal He does it without noise, without announcements, without your permission, and without your timeline, and that is why your heart has felt restless lately, not because something is wrong, but because something sacred is being protected from premature exposure. And the enemy's favorite trick is to make you believe that if it is quiet then it is forgotten, but God says the quiet is where I do my finest work, the quiet is where foundations are laid so deep that storms will never uproot them. If you have been tempted to rush love, to hurry connection, to demand clarity before its season, understand this, rushing what God is preparing will only introduce you to a version of love that cannot hold you, and heaven refuses to release you into something that will break you just to satisfy your impatience. My beloved soul, do not skip this moment, because what you are hearing right now is not comfort, it is correction wrapped in love, a divine pause placed over your emotions so that your future is not damaged by your present hunger. God says I am guarding you from meeting them too early, because early meetings create unfinished stories, and unfinished stories create wounds that were never meant to exist. You are not being punished, you are being preserved. Somewhere, your soulmate is learning how to communicate instead of shutting down, learning how to stay instead of disappearing, learning how to love without control, learning how to choose peace over ego, and you would not recognize the beauty of who they are becoming if God released them before the work was complete. My beloved soul, stay with me till the end, something powerful is waiting for you, because this word is not only about them, it is also about you, about the areas God is quietly adjusting within your heart, the standards He is raising, the attachments He is dissolving, the emotional reflexes He is softening, the boundaries He is strengthening, because if only one of you is prepared, the union will collapse under imbalance. You have asked God for a love that feels safe, a connection that does not trigger anxiety, a partnership that feels like home and not like survival, and God says I heard you the first time, but answers of that magnitude require seasons of silence. The world rushes because it fears being left behind, but the kingdom waits because it knows what is coming cannot miss you. My beloved soul, you are not behind, you are being aligned, and alignment never announces itself, it simply positions you correctly before the blessing arrives. There is a reason you keep losing interest in shallow connections, a reason conversations feel empty faster than they used to, a reason your spirit rejects attention without intention, it is because God is detoxing you from what cannot sustain your future, and this process feels lonely because transformation always isolates before it connects. Do not interpret isolation as abandonment, because heaven often removes noise so you can hear instruction. My beloved soul, do not leave yet, heaven has more to reveal, because the next thing you must understand is this: the soulmate God is preparing for you is also praying for you without knowing your name yet, asking God to heal the very wounds you carry, asking for wisdom to love someone deeply, asking for patience without realizing they are learning it for you, and when two prayers begin to echo each other in the spirit realm, God begins aligning paths in ways the mind cannot calculate. That is why chance encounters have not worked, that is why forced connections have faded, because divine meetings are not engineered by effort, they are released by timing. God says I am not delaying you, I am defending you from counterfeits that look right but lack endurance. If you rush now, you will attract someone ready for comfort, not covenant, someone drawn to your light but unwilling to protect it, someone impressed by your strength but threatened by your depth. My beloved soul, I am teaching you to wait without losing softness, to trust without becoming passive, to desire without desperation, because desperation attracts mirrors of insecurity, not reflections of destiny. This is why God is asking you to slow your heart, to stop checking the clock, to stop asking how much longer, because the moment you stop rushing is the moment heaven accelerates what you cannot control. My beloved soul, if you remain till the end, the final word will change everything, but before that, understand this call clearly: do not rush, do not settle, do not chase, do not reopen doors God closed in mercy, and do not compare your timeline with those who are not carrying your assignment. Right now, I invite you to stay fully present with this word, to receive it not as information but as instruction, and if your spirit feels seen, type a simple yes in the comments as an act of agreement, not for people, but as a signal to heaven that you trust God's pace more than your pressure. And if this message anchored your heart, stay with me, because what unfolds next will explain why the waiting is worth more than anything you could force. My beloved soul, there is something sacred unfolding beneath the surface of your waiting, something so precise that if you rush past this season you will never fully understand how carefully God has been arranging your future, because preparation is not punishment, it is protection disguised as stillness. You have wondered why connections come close and then fade, why emotions rise and then are asked to quiet themselves, why your heart feels stretched between hope and restraint, and God says it is because I am teaching you discernment without hardness, patience without passivity, and desire without disorder. What you are experiencing now is the slow rewiring of your spirit so that when love arrives it will not shock your nervous system or awaken old wounds, but settle into you like truth you recognize rather than chaos you must manage. My beloved soul, do not skip this moment, because this quiet stretch is where your soul is learning how to receive without fear and how to stay open without bleeding. God is not only preparing your soulmate, He is preparing the atmosphere in which the union will exist, and atmospheres are built through unseen decisions, internal surrenders, and silent obedience that nobody applauds. You are being taught how to choose peace even when uncertainty whispers, how to trust timing even when desire speaks loudly, and how to rest without answers while remaining faithful to the process. Somewhere beyond your sight, your soulmate is also being interrupted by God, being slowed down when they try to move too fast, being corrected when patterns try to repeat, being humbled when pride attempts to rise, because heaven refuses to allow two unhealed histories to collide and call it destiny. My beloved soul, this delay is not distance, it is alignment, and alignment always feels slower than impatience because it operates in wisdom, not urgency. You may not see progress, but progress is happening in ways your eyes cannot yet measure, in habits being broken, in emotional reactions being softened, in communication being refined, in values being clarified, all so that when you meet, love will not have to undo what life damaged. Stay with me till the end, something powerful is waiting for you, because the next truth you must receive is this: rushing love often comes from a fear of missing out, but God-rooted love comes from a knowing that what is yours cannot bypass you. You are not competing with anyone for what heaven has assigned to you, and the moment you stop striving is the moment your soul begins to recognize security again. God says, I am removing your attraction to potential without proof, to intensity without consistency, to attention without accountability, because those things once felt exciting but they never felt safe, and you asked me for safe. Safety requires preparation. Stability requires time. Depth requires patience. My beloved soul, I am reshaping your expectations so that when love arrives it will not feel boring, it will feel calm, and calm will no longer scare you. That is why God has been teaching you how to sit with yourself, how to enjoy your own presence, how to hear your own thoughts without distraction, because self-connection is the foundation of healthy connection. A heart that cannot be alone will cling, and a heart that clings will confuse attachment with love. God says, I am teaching you wholeness so that love becomes addition, not replacement. Do not leave yet, heaven has more to reveal, because the silence you are in now is also revealing who truly has access to your heart. Notice who respects your pace, who does not pressure your healing, who honors your boundaries without offense, because these are glimpses of the qualities God is cultivating in your soulmate. Heaven does not train one side and ignore the other, it mirrors growth so that when two souls meet, they recognize familiarity in values, not just chemistry. My beloved soul, if love came too early, it would have bonded to versions of you that no longer exist, and then growth would have felt like betrayal instead of evolution. God is preventing that fracture. He is ensuring that when you are seen fully, not partially, and when you are chosen in awareness, not fantasy. The quiet is not empty, it is intentional, and every unanswered question is making room for trust to mature. My beloved soul, if you remain till the end, the final word will change everything, because here is the truth that settles restless hearts. God is not asking you to wait without reward, He is asking you to wait without anxiety. Waiting with anxiety drains faith, but waiting with trust builds strength. You are learning the difference now. The preparation happening is not only for romance, it is for longevity, for endurance, for a love that survives seasons, disagreements, growth, and change without becoming unsafe. When God finishes preparing what He promised, it does not require chasing, convincing, or proving, it flows naturally because both souls arrive ready. Rest here, my beloved soul, not because nothing is happening, but because everything that matters is. My beloved soul, there is a deeper reason God is asking you to slow your emotions even when your heart longs to move forward, because not every longing is meant to be acted upon immediately, and not every desire is a signal to advance, some are invitations to mature. You are standing in a season where restraint is more powerful than pursuit, where stillness is shaping you more than motion ever could, and God says this is where discernment replaces impulse. You have grown beyond chasing signs, beyond interpreting attention as confirmation. Beyond mistaking intensity for truth, and that growth feels uncomfortable because it removes familiar patterns that once made you feel chosen. Now God is teaching you to feel chosen without evidence, to trust without reassurance, to believe without constant affirmation, and this lesson is necessary because the love prepared for you will not require performance to be sustained. My beloved soul, do not skip this moment, because your spirit is learning how to remain grounded even when emotions fluctuate, and that grounding will protect the connection when life tests it. God is quieting the part of you that rushes to secure love quickly, not to frustrate you, but to save you from attaching to something that cannot carry your future. There is wisdom forming in you now, a calm authority that does not panic at uncertainty, and that wisdom is rare, which is why God guards it carefully. Somewhere unseen, your soulmate is also learning restraint, learning how to pause before reacting, how to listen instead of defending, how to choose clarity over confusion, because love that lasts is built on understanding, not urgency. The preparation happening is internal, invisible, and essential, and heaven will not release what is unfinished simply to satisfy impatience. My beloved soul, stay with me till the end, something powerful is waiting for you, because the next layer of this truth is about trust. Trust is not proven when things are clear, it is revealed when things are quiet. God is watching how you carry your hope, whether you guard it with faith or leak it through fear, whether you nurture it with patience or suffocate it with doubt. Every time you choose peace over overthinking, every time you resist reopening old doors out of loneliness, Every time you decline a connection that does not honor your values, you are signaling readiness without saying a word. Heaven responds to alignment faster than it responds to pleading. My beloved soul, you are not being tested to see how long you can endure, you are being refined to see how well you can remain soft without becoming naive. The love coming to you will require emotional intelligence, spiritual maturity, and self-awareness, and those qualities cannot be rushed into existence. That is why God has been slowing conversations, shortening attachments, and closing chapters that once felt promising, because anything that pulls you out of alignment now would cost you more later. Do not leave yet, heaven has more to reveal, because the waiting you are in is also exposing what you truly desire. You are no longer satisfied with surface-level affection, inconsistent presence, or conditional care. Your heart is craving depth, reliability, and mutual effort, and God says that craving is holy. It is evidence that you are no longer willing to shrink your needs to keep someone close. The soulmate being prepared for you will not require you to minimize yourself, explain your worth, or negotiate your boundaries. They are being shaped to recognize value without persuasion, to show up without being chased, and to love without fear of vulnerability. My beloved soul, silence is not a sign to settle, it is a signal to strengthen. Use this season to deepen your connection with yourself, to understand your emotional rhythms, to identify triggers without judgment, and to cultivate inner peace that does not depend on external validation. A calm soul attracts a calm love. God is aligning you with someone who can meet you where you are, not where you pretend to be. If love arrived now without this preparation, it would have mirrored your old patterns instead of your new values. Heaven is ensuring that does not happen. My beloved soul, if you remain till the end, the final word will change everything, because here is the truth that stabilizes restless hearts: God's timing is not random, it is relational. He is synchronizing growth, healing, and awareness so that when paths cross, recognition will feel natural, not forced. There will be no confusion, no mixed signals, no need to decode behavior, because clarity is a fruit of preparation. Rest in this season, not because waiting is easy, but because it is purposeful. What is being built now will not collapse later, and that is worth every moment of restraint you are learning to embrace. My beloved soul, there is a sacred recalibration happening within you that words can barely describe, because God is adjusting not just your expectations, but your internal posture toward love, teaching you how to hold anticipation without gripping it, how to desire connection without abandoning wisdom. This season is refining how you listen, how you respond, how you interpret silence, and how you value consistency over excitement. You may notice that your tolerance for emotional confusion has diminished, that your spirit now withdraws from conversations lacking substance, and that your heart no longer romanticizes inconsistency. This is not coldness, it is clarity forming. God is training your discernment to recognize peace as the signal of alignment, not sparks that burn quickly and leave residue behind. What once distracted you no longer satisfies you, because heaven has elevated your emotional palate, preparing you for a love that nourishes instead of overstimulates. My beloved soul, do not skip this moment, because the discernment developing now will protect the union later, ensuring that when challenges arise, wisdom responds before emotion reacts. Somewhere quietly, your soulmate is learning the same language, the language of presence without pressure, commitment without fear, affection without manipulation. God is synchronizing values before synchronizing paths, because shared values create longevity where attraction alone cannot. The restraint you are practicing now is building inner stability, teaching your heart how to remain anchored even when circumstances feel unresolved. This anchoring will become the backbone of your future connection, allowing love to grow without insecurity. My beloved soul, stay with me till the end, something powerful is waiting for you, because the next truth is essential. Preparation does not feel productive, but it is profoundly effective. God is dismantling emotional shortcuts you once relied on, replacing them with intentional choices that honor your worth. You are learning how to pause before responding, how to evaluate energy before investing, how to protect your peace without guilt. These are not small lessons, they are the infrastructure of a healthy partnership. Heaven knows that love without structure collapses under pressure, so God builds structure within you first. The silence you experience now is teaching you how to listen deeply, not only to others, but to yourself. This listening will become a gift within the relationship, allowing understanding to replace assumptions. My beloved soul, patience is becoming part of your character, not because you enjoy waiting, but because you trust the process shaping you. Trust is not passive, it is active surrender, choosing to believe in what is being built even when you cannot see the blueprint. God is cultivating emotional maturity that will allow love to feel safe rather than overwhelming. Safety is not boring, it is stabilizing, and stability creates space for intimacy to flourish without fear. The preparation happening now is removing the need for validation through urgency, replacing it with confidence rooted in self-awareness. Do not leave yet, heaven has more to reveal, because this season is also teaching you how to receive. Receiving requires openness without anxiety, vulnerability without overexposure, and confidence without defensiveness. God is softening areas where you learn to guard too tightly, healing places where past disappointments taught you to expect loss. These internal adjustments are subtle, but they are powerful, creating a heart capable of connection without self-betrayal. Your soulmate is being prepared to meet this version of you, not the one shaped by survival, but the one grounded in truth. Heaven is ensuring that when love arrives, it complements your growth, rather than challenges it. My beloved soul, if you remain till the end, the final word will change everything, because here is the assurance meant to settle your spirit: nothing about this process is accidental. God is intentional with timing because He is intentional with outcomes. What is forming now will sustain what comes next, creating a connection built on mutual respect, emotional intelligence, and spiritual alignment. Rest in the quiet, not because waiting is easy, but because it is purposeful. The love being prepared will recognize you not by urgency, but by resonance, and when that recognition happens, you will understand why every moment of restraint was necessary. My beloved soul, as this message draws toward its completion, receive this final unfolding with stillness in your spirit, because endings in God are never closures, they are confirmations. What you have been walking through was never meant to exhaust you, it was meant to establish you. The quiet shaping, the emotional pauses, the slowed connections, the unanswered questions, all of it has been working together to build something enduring within you, something that will not collapse when love finally arrives. God has been preparing you not only to meet your soulmate, but to keep them, to grow with them, to walk seasons without fear of abandonment or loss of self. You were never meant to rush into love carrying unhealed reflexes, old defenses, or borrowed expectations. This season has been about integration, aligning your heart, mind, and spirit so that love becomes a shared journey rather than a rescue mission. My beloved soul, do not skip this moment, because this final truth settles what impatience tries to disturb. What is coming toward you will recognize you immediately, not because of appearance or circumstance, but because your energy will speak the same language. Prepared souls recognize preparedness. There will be no confusion, no guessing games, no emotional imbalance disguised as mystery. Clarity will feel natural, communication will feel safe, presence will feel consistent, and peace will become the foundation rather than the reward. God has been removing your attraction to emotional chaos so that calm no longer feels unfamiliar. The love ahead will not require constant reassurance, because trust will already exist. It will not demand urgency, because security will already be present. This is why the waiting mattered. This is why the silence was necessary. This is why restraint became your strength. Somewhere, the one being prepared for you is arriving at the same inner readiness, learning how to choose commitment without fear, how to express affection without control, how to remain present without losing identity. Heaven does not rush sacred unions, because what is built slowly stands firmly. My beloved soul, stay with me till the end. Something powerful is waiting for you, because the final alignment is not about timing, it is about readiness. God does not ask if you want love, He asks if you can sustain it. This season has been teaching you how to remain grounded when emotions rise, how to speak truth without aggression, how to listen without defensiveness, how to love without self-erasure. These lessons are not dramatic, but they are decisive. They will determine whether love becomes a place of growth or a cycle of repair. God has been closing doors not to isolate you, but to protect the version of you that is now emerging, the version that knows their worth without negotiation, the version that chooses alignment over attention, the version that understands that divine love does not arrive through pressure, but through peace. When the meeting happens, it will feel like continuation, not interruption, because both of you will arrive whole, not searching for completion. My beloved soul, there is nothing missing, nothing late, nothing forgotten. Heaven has been precise. Even the moments you questioned God, even the nights you felt unseen, even the times you almost compromised your standards, all of it was watched, weighed, and redirected with care. God does not shame you for longing, He honors it by preparing you properly. Longing guided by patience becomes wisdom. Desire guided by trust becomes discernment. Love guided by God becomes legacy. Do not leave yet, heaven has more to reveal, because this final reassurance is meant to anchor you completely. You will not have to chase what is meant for you. You will not have to compete for attention, perform for affection, or shrink to be chosen. What is aligned will approach you with intention, clarity, and consistency. When that moment comes, you will understand why earlier connections could not stay, why certain doors closed abruptly, why timing never aligned before. It was not rejection, it was redirection. God was steering you away from versions of love that could not support the future He is building through you. The waiting refined your character, softened your responses, strengthened your boundaries, and expanded your capacity to receive healthy love. My beloved soul, if you remain till the end, the final word will change everything, and here it is: you are ready, not because you are perfect, but because you are aware. Awareness transforms relationships. Awareness sustains intimacy. Awareness creates safety. God does not unite two flawless people, He unites two conscious ones. The preparation is nearly complete, and when love arrives, it will not feel rushed, dramatic, or overwhelming, it will feel right. It will feel steady. It will feel chosen daily. Rest now in this knowing. The quiet season has done its work. Heaven has not delayed you, heaven has delivered you to the right moment. This is where the waiting ends, not with urgency, but with assurance. Type Amen.